starting to wind things up and give everybody the ability to watch us. All right.
It's like ice out there now.
Yeah, it's getting
It's snowing. What a crazy day, weather-wise. When it's red, is it showing it's recording?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Sure is.
Did you share? Okay, here it is. Okay. Okay, now how do I do watch party?
Share. No watch party. Ready?
We're ready.
Turn your volume up. All right, I'm Scott.
And I'm Don.
And we're talking real estate. So as you can see, the background is a little bit, the backdrop is a little different today. Okay, couple reasons for that. One, it's the lovely state of Michigan. So it is right now hailing / snowing outside in the almost end of April. So that's one. So we couldn't do it from the garage anymore. Two, spent a lot of time, like I told you, taking my own advice and really donning up this this living room so it looks great. So nice backdrop. I thought it was my designer thought it was a very picturesque backdrop. So that's where we're at right now. So we are in my living room, and it's a little bit different now.
Scott, you did a very good job. The house looks awesome. The paint job looks great, and you did take your advice on the neutral colors. So
Yeah,
it looks
yeah.
really
So
good.
it's gray, a lot of grays and like a little bit of browns in it and stuff like that. Now, I will tell you too, we have another sound technician with us. You may hear him barking in the background at some point. Okay, so Shadow may start barking in the background, just so you know. All right, so as we go through the show, you hear my sound tech adding his 2 cents. Nothing we can do about that. For those of you that know me, my dog is crazy.
Yeah,
Right, so
Dog might know a little bit about real estate. We don't know. We're gonna find out.
Yeah, he knows about desecrating real estate when I take him for a walk. That's all he knows about real estate. All right, so Don, what do we got first?
Yeah. So first up is Spirit of the Times, which is really our way of saying update from last week and what's going on in our community and in our country, actually, in the state.
So we're still under quarantine, right? So people
Yeah, still in quarantine,
Yep.
and things change on a daily basis. So we're just want to keep you up to date with what we hear and what we know that's going on, and just try to share that with you. So first of all, credit scores.
Yep. So I talked to a couple lenders over the last 24 hours, and this was the way they explained it to me, that there are lenders trying to circle back to 640, but it's still that 660 credit score is kind of where it's at.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of where the stickiness is at. So people, I mean, you gotta have a 660 or better for the most part. Now, again, we're not telling you that, we're not mortgage reps, so we're not telling you that you couldn't get it with 640. It's possible, but that's kind of where it's at. So
Where
I think,
it's at right now, yeah.
yeah. So I think people are kind of getting used to things a little bit. So it's not as crazy, run around, scream, yelling as it was before.
Yeah.
So that's that.
What, in the business?
Yeah.
Yeah, really, actually, if you really think about we've been under quarantine for 6 weeks now, or stay at home for 4 to 6 weeks, and things are, I think people are starting to get a little bit more comfortable with the way things are going, and getting into a little bit of a groove, or a little more comfortable with it, like I said. So, and the same thing is with real estate. People are still buying homes and still selling, though on a lower total, but it still can happen. It's still possible, and we want to just let you know, bring that to you, those sort of things. So,
So what do we got next as far as the sign of the times?
next thing is points, mortgage points, and we were in a discussion with a mortgage rep recently, just this past week, about that. And you want to share a little bit about
So
that?
here's I talked to 2 different mortgage reps, because one kind of tickled me a little bit. I go, wow, I never thought of that. So when you pay points, here's what that means. Typically, it's 1% of the loan, yeah,
Of the mortgage.
of the mortgage, right? So you're paying that up front. Now, places that they said it makes sense is if you get 3/8 of a percent down. Like if you went from 3.85 to something to down, 3/8. Okay,
3%.
right. If it's less than that, then it really doesn't make a whole lot of sense unless you plan on being in the house for a long time. Okay, unless you plan on being there, because realize the interest over, like let's say it's 200 grand, right? So and you pay that 1% loan, so you pay 2 grand down extra. So you get that 3/8. So over a period of 6, 7, 8 years, it's going to count as your break-even point. If you plan on living there, it's your forever home. That's a little different, right? So yeah, so just something that we heard a lot. They were talking about. That's kind of the word they use is creative financing. That agent they use, that mortgage rep use creative financing to get you in a good place. So something you want to talk to your lender about if you're thinking about buying, and your points make sense. So you decide for yourself, right? What else you got for Simon?
And hopefully they can explain it to you in detailed manner. So, yeah, it depends on your situation.
Right, absolutely. What else you got for Sign of the Times, sir?
So next are appraisals on a purchase right now. What can you shed on that?
So
remember that?
I still is what we're going on is some on some mortgages they're doing a couple things. One, seller won't let appraiser in the home. That's one, and it's at a value where the computer kind of their matrix or their algorithm says that the house is worth that. The appraisal sometimes is like a drive-by. That's still going on. I wouldn't say the majority, but that's still happening.
It's a possibility to make the transaction take place.
Yep.
So just adjusting on the fly is what we're doing, and what lenders are trying to do too. And I think that brings into the idea of the increase in the interest rate so quickly. In credit score so quickly, is they want to make sure that when they're giving a mortgage out there, they're going to get paid back. They really don't want to foreclose on a house, so they're really making sure that they're much. I guess I'm thinking back to 10 years ago when we had financial meltdown, mortgage meltdown, and that sort of stuff. Lenders were really, it took them a long time to adjust.
Yeah.
I think this is so impressive that within weeks, they were making adjustments on how to make sure they didn't end up in a situation that they were before, which it may be unfortunate for some people, but for the mortgage, in a bigger picture sense, we don't want a meltdown.
No,
we don't want a bunch of foreclosures. We don't want values going down, values to continue going up.
Yeah.
And I think that's a huge thing that they're making that adjustment that quickly.
So let's talk forbearance. And I know we talked about this before. It's something you got to make sure makes sense to you. So for forbearance to work, you got to understand that at the end of it, like let's say you forbear 4 payments, right? At the end of it, you have to pay those 4 payments. Not the end of the loan, but once the forbearance period's up. Okay, so I think we had dug a little bit in Fannie and Freddie.
Which are typically the insurers, the mortgage insurance insurers for conventional loans. They've got it's a maximum of 4 months.
Yeah.
So there's things going on in that. So that's the reason why we bring back up the forbearance is because it's changing, and you need to really make sure you know what you're doing in that regards.
Right, and again, it's something. It's not a free pass. Understand, folks, that there are consequences to it. You have to pay that money eventually, but it might give you the relief some folks need. And if you're one of those folks, hey, do what you got to do to make that happen. So that's that. The biggest thing, Don, and I'll shed light on this a little more because I will probably have to utilize this. And I know, folks, if you've been watching the show for a few weeks, I'm a little hesitant on the virtual showings and not looking at houses and stuff like that. Okay, I'm a little hesitant. Okay, so what's freed up in the last 2 weeks or so, maybe a week and a half or so, is that you can do private inspections on homes. They're allowing that to happen. Okay, here's what the stipulations for the most part are. All right, one, here's the people that can be involved. The buyer can be there, and the private inspector can be there. Those 2 people, okay? The agent can't be there, which typically I go to almost every private inspection, okay, to support my buyer, but you can't be there at this time, right? So that's that. Now, think about this for a minute. The people that have to agree, the buyer, the seller, and the agent all have to agree that they can do the inspection on the house. Because you're basically invading their home, right? I mean, it's a pretty strong word, but in the state that we're in, that's kind of the word you use. So here's what that'll do. it'll free up folks that have contracts that are dependent on the lift of the statewide ban of travel, the travel ban.
It's a good way for the purchaser to get into the home and see what they're actually purchasing in person as opposed to a virtual tour. So it is a nice feature, but going back to the private inspection, it's actually in the contract. So if the seller signs a contract, they have to allow the private inspector in there. The issue is will the private inspector and the sellers agree that the buyer can be there? That's the big hit. That's the big possible hiccup. And then if the buyer does go through it, at that point they do the private inspection. And if the private inspection is really, the house is going to fall down, they don't have to buy it.
Yeah.
They can move on. You don't have to spend that time. So there's some things a little changing a little bit that makes it a little bit less scary for a purchaser purchasing a house sight unseen in person.
Yeah. So, but understand too that we always want to give you the facts and give you the straight dope, right? So here's where you want to look at it. That inspection, maybe you will basically rolling a dice for $300-400 or $500, because that inspector, he blocked the time off. He's going to get paid. If you go in and go, yeah, I really don't like this house, you still got to pay that guy.
Yeah.
And whatever you decide to pay him, that's between you guys. But it is a way to kind of get things moving if you're itching to buy. And like I said, I have a seller that's kind of in a situation where they need to buy, so it'll kind of free them up and make things a little easier.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's good. So,
right.
Sign of the times, folks. We try to give you updated information. And again, that stuff's changing every single day. Like, we're getting new information all the time. Like, the governor could go on tomorrow and say, hey, this is what's going on. So, we're just trying to give you as much updated information as we can. Yeah. All right? So, what do we got next?
So, next up, topic number 2 is a lot of people don't know what agents actually do to sell a home or help a purchaser, and how we get paid, and we wanted to kind of go down that road and discuss that a little bit. So, first up is about the commission. What does a commission go to, and how is that decided? Who pays it, and what is the amount? Is it negotiable? Is it the same flat fee? What is the same typical amount or anything like that?
So let's start with easy. Typical. I'm going to use that word. Okay, is 6%. Well, that's typical. It can be negotiated. I've seen them at 7-8, right? And I don't see very many that stick around for 4 or 5. People don't look at them usually, because people want to get paid, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, but typically it's 6%. It's paid by the seller, but here's a really important but. There's no buyer, and there's no commission at all. So, seller pays it. Buyer is extremely important to make it happen. Okay. Now, I'm kidding, not kidding you. Don and I talked about this, and I kind of brought something going. People don't realize they get paid. Like, I had somebody try to give me money at closing one time. I had somebody give me a gorgeous watch, which was a beautiful gift, that you get paid as well. So just let me walk you through this. So let's say 6%. Let's say it's $6. Okay, you got $6. All right, right off the bat, it's split right down the middle.
What do you mean by that? Split? What
so
split?
If it's $6, $3 goes to the buyer's agent, broker, and $3 goes to the listing agent broker. So boom, right out the bat, it's 3 and 3. So let's start there. So let's say I'm the buyer's agent, right, and you're the listing agent.
Yep, I'm listing.
So right out the bat, your broker gets $3.
My broker, right? Not me, but my broker.
Yeah.
Yep.
So then my broker gets $3. Now he had to market it, okay, which is going to cost you for pictures, for all the different places that it's posted at, for virtual tour, all that stuff.
Sign.
Right? And so then of that $3, now you're down to maybe $2. Maybe it's okay. Now, broker takes a piece of it. Now you're down to $1.
$1.
Okay, but again, using it for simplicity. It's a little more than that, and I can pretend it's not. Okay? Buyer's agent, you got gas, driving around, look at paying for MLS, things like that. So again, you're out that $1, so you're making $1 out of it too. All right? Folks, again, I'm not pretending that the way that we get paid pittance, okay? But people just think that you just walk around, show some houses, and amazingly you make thousands and thousands of dollars. Right?
We're going to go down that road and explain more about what we do for all that sort of stuff. But we want to just get that out.
Yeah, so everything gets paid by the listing itself. Both sides get paid that way, okay? But the brokers get a part of that too before the agent gets it. So just realize those things.
So going back to the seller, you say the seller pays a commission, but really, and isn't it really like the seller, it's coming out of the seller's side, but the buyers bring money to the closing table as well, and then everything's divvied up at that point. So really, it ends up being probably from both parties, and
yeah, well, so it comes down to this. That
Yeah.
At one point in time, it used to be, in the old days, it used to be listing agent did all of it, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And now so somebody goes, well, I want somebody representing my interest because you need that as a buyer.
right.
So that's how.
Yeah,
Again,
and that's
listing pays it. Listing pays it, but without a buyer, there's no sale.
absolutely
So
right.
I have to have both.
Right. And buyers have representation now. They didn't have that before, which is a great thing.
Absolutely.
And buyer agents work very hard for them. Work very hard for their clients.
Oh,
You
yeah.
get them out of trouble and save them from making a mistake.
Yeah.
Like
So
huge
big things. The biggest things is they usually lean on our experience, right?
Right.
Would you say that every deal teaches us something?
There's some hiccup or something new, some challenge, some hurdle, something you have to. Yes, absolutely, every single one. And
Even if they're smooth, there's something you learn all the time.
Yeah, yeah.
So if you do 50 to 100 deals a year, and you do that, how long have you been doing real estate?
Over 20 years.
So thousands of little learned pieces. That's what you're getting.
Yeah.
That's what you're getting. I mean, I talked to an agent yesterday, and she called me, and she'd been in the business for a while, and said, asked me a question about flood insurance, and I had been through that because I sell in Dearborn Heights. There's lots of flood insurance stuff going on, so I knew the ins and the outs of that kind of stuff. So you just learn so many things that your agency. One of the biggest things you bring to the table is your experience, what you know
Absolutely.
about how things go.
Yes.
What else you got?
Yeah. So next up, we have regarding, there's a lot of information on the internet these days, and as a consumer, you can find a lot of information out there, and sometimes it's overwhelming. For example, you bought that TV; it can be overwhelming trying to figure out what TV to buy and that sort of stuff, right?
Yeah. So
Same thing with
like
houses.
ADH, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, just give me whatever is big and relatively not expensive.
Yeah. So what I think when you go to somebody that's really good at what they do, that you're hoping that you're getting advice on how to narrow all that stuff down, what to focus on, and what's really important. Sometimes you look at these TVs or a house or something. What's really important when you buy that thing? What is it? Is there some of these things that they have this term about it and it's fancy? It's just a fancy term, but it means nothing.
Yeah.
That's the same thing about real estate. A good real estate agent will focus, show you what you need to talk about, what you need to think about, what you need to look at. So the information that's out there that's overwhelming, we try to, narrow it down and show you what's important.
Well, so I work with even now, even after all this time, I still work with first time home buyers a lot.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
I like
that's
it.
awesome.
I like their
Yeah.
energy. I like the fact that getting a home
Yeah.
makes you feel good, right?
Yeah.
So as you're walking them through it, you explain and you guide and you kind of move them through it. I always have a beginning, first sit down meeting with them. I explain, here's how it goes, but I go step by step. But they're not going to take all that in. It's something new.
Yes.
So then, when the first step happens, you go, "Oh, this is it. Here's what's going to happen next. Oh, here's the next step. Here's what's going to happen next." Those kind of things. So it definitely walking somebody through the process takes time.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'll tell you something else, just kind of a side note. I have had an outpouring of people lately that want to get into real estate, and I always give them honest advice. I say, "Look, here's the thing. It's hard.
Mm-hmm.
It's a hard job. It's not easy. It definitely is. And if you think you just get in a car, drive around, show some houses, and make a bunch of money, it's not how it works."
Yeah.
So it definitely. How many hours would you say per deal? How many hours would you say you spend?
I think if you were to average them out throughout the year, I don't know, 25, 26, 27, something like that.
Okay.
What do you think?
I'd say about 30 at least.
Yeah.
I'd say 30 at least because there are some that are quick. Like I had a young lady reach out to me. They wanted to look at one house. They liked it. And it still was a good amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
They were still working and doing things like that. But very rarely does that happen.
Mm-hmm.
Either side, either listing or buyer.
Right.
Very rarely is it like boom, 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 boom. It's like, well, let me look at this many houses and figure it out and all that kind of stuff. So I would say minimum 30, minimum.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I think there was a list that either NAR put out, so you can look it up. I want to say it's like the 186 things a real estate agent does. I think it's something like that.
We'll do that one of these weeks.
Yeah, but I want to throw in the show because people are asking me.
No, absolutely.
So my first step, I always tell them, okay, so sit down with a couple, 2 or 3 brokers, right? Yeah, and then talk to them about taking the test and taking the class, and then go from there, right? So it's you're not going to make a bunch of money as soon as you come out the gate, because you got to do a lot of things first. There's costs up front before you start. When you say, things like dues and stuff like that.
Yeah, there you need to be informed, and I think that if you talk to somebody like our manager, our broker, they can.
Really, Lisa Boyce.
Lisa Boyce.
She's probably watching right now. Lisa Boyce, you're probably watching.
So they can explain to you all the things that we do this on a daily basis, so we forget to tell people things. She can tell you all the things what to expect because she does it. She works with the agents. She doesn't sell. She works with the agents.
Lisa Boyce is the best.
Yeah.
So if you're thinking about getting a real estate, that's who you go see. Call us, and that's who you go see, Lisa Boyce.
We can help you with that for sure.
So Don, if you had to say a couple more things about what realtors do, like give me a couple, 2 or 3 things that you think that most important things that we do.
Well, I think agents know they know the traps that can happen during the transaction. For example, offering, if you're representing a buyer and you're putting an offer on a house and you feel it's too high, but it's a really nice house. It's really decked out. It's got everything, but it's still way above the market in that neighborhood. You have enough experience to explain to a purchaser the value that this property may not appraise for that. And you put money out, for example, on a private inspection. You come to agreement on a contract, do a private inspection, everything's fine, and then you send an appraiser out there. You can have $1,000 into it, and if it doesn't appraise, you're going to be blindsided and wondering what do you do next, and it could be a problem. It's nice to know that before you start going down that road, and at least you know what you can do to try to get around that hurdle or that challenge.
Right. I would say the other thing is, again, people, especially first-time home buyers, excuse me, the biggest things are they don't know what an appraisal is. They don't know what a private inspection is. Those 2 big things, right?
Right.
When you explain value, say a house is probably worth this much, okay? Or I've said this before, house is worth this much. The market's probably the market how it is going to take it to this much. I say that to some people sometimes. Like, we really love this house and we want it. What do we got to do? I go, well, it's worth this much, but to get it, you probably got to do this. Yeah. So those are, and again, that's an experience with
it's experience, exactly. Yeah. You're helping people out for sure. Which goes to haggling the best deal. Yeah. Trying to get the best deal for your client, for both a seller or for a buyer. You're trying to get the best deal, but it has to be a win-win for both parties.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. That's the biggest thing I don't think people get sometimes. Is a realtor, their job is to get you what you want, right?
To do the best they can.
The best they can to get you what you want, either for price for the listing or house you want or whatever. But they got to do it in a way which will make the other people say yes. Like, so every once in a while, I get somebody who says, "Well, I'm going to offer them. It's listed for $200. I'm going to offer them $150." And I look at them and go, "Okay, just understand. I'll do it, but understand this might make it so they don't talk to us ever again. Just keep that in mind." And again, that's just being honest.
Who won't talk to
the listing? You ever had people like that?
Yeah.
That where you offer a price and you just pissed us off so bad we don't want to talk to you anymore.
Yeah.
So you gotta find a way to make it work. That's what your job is, to make it work.
To make it work, exactly. How about in peace of mind? We help with peace of mind for our parties that we represent. There's some intense. There can be some intense moments during the transaction or stressful situations that we try to help calm things down, get the bigger picture idea out there, and we don't have emotion in it like you do when a lot of people are buying and selling. There's this emotion, there's this attachment to it, and we try to show the other side of things that. That's emotion.
That's what I was going to say. I would say one of our jobs is to manage emotions.
Yeah.
Okay, buying something that you love. Like, I've seen people, they just love this house. And I go, okay, you got to wait and see the private inspection, right? And all of a sudden, the foundation sucks. Okay, well, that beautiful house up top, the foundation sucks, or they couldn't see something the inspector found it. Now I gotta go, okay, look, I kind of told you that. So you have to manage too high and too low.
Yeah.
Too high, because people get all bummed out and like, we're never gonna find it. You will. I don't think I've ever had somebody never find a house.
Yeah.
Never.
And if that house doesn't make, if something happens, you don't purchase that home, there's a reason for it.
Right. And there's always too,
there's
like,
always a reason.
Almost always, they find the next house that's even better.
Right.
Almost always.
And
almost
thankful
always.
that they didn't buy the other house.
But like I said, our big thing is you got to be able to manage emotion, right?
Yeah.
Anything else? Any other big things that we do that you want to make sure people know?
We have an eye for what sells and what people want typically.
Yeah, so I think the reason that this turned out nicer than the last time I remodeled many years ago, right? Or redid it, is because you see. Like, I'll give you an example. I was on one of those Zoom calls the other day with a couple of friends of mine. I go, man, that's a really nice backsplash. Let me look at that. Like, not even talking to people. Hey, look at that backsplash. Because we notice that stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yes. And we see what's out there.
Yes.
We see what's out there. Where we'd say is on the front lines of what people are doing.
Yes.
Of what people are doing. Yeah.
Which is that's a pretty cool thing.
Yeah, it is.
You know, my wife, she wants to buy something or get something. I said, I've seen it a number of times, and you know, when you see it out there all the time, you don't always want it in your house, you know.
Yeah.
And so my wife.
So you're bored by stuff? Is that what you're saying?
What's that?
You're bored by stuff? You see it so many times. You're bored.
Yes. I don't want that. We don't need. We let's try to find something else, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's what she better not be watching. She might be pissing you.
Oh no, we've had that conversation a number of times.
Oh, that's good stuff. All right, so let's go city spotlight. What's our spotlight today?
Okay, our spotlight today is Southfield, Michigan.
Okay, so Southfield. Southfield is I would call it a very
diverse,
but it's under the radar a lot of times.
Yeah.
Like, I've seen some homes in Southfield and you go, wow.
Yeah.
Like, as far as how much property they have or like the size of the house, I mean, just there's some very interesting layouts, very cool and interesting layouts, and just like you can get quite a bit. You'd be surprised what you can get.
I think 40 years ago, that was a really big suburb that really got a lot of people that had money lived out that way. I think.
So they still have those size homes and stuff.
Big properties. So yeah, it's a really interesting. You know, there's a lot of condos there too. So it's a very interesting city. Yeah.
Okay. So folks, like we always talk about, we're going to tell you active, pending, and sold. And what active means is homes that are on the market right now. Okay, there are 61 active homes in the market in Southfield and 26 condos. That means that homes that are still out there that nobody has made an offer on, maybe they're brand new to the market, something like that. So if you're listing, if somebody's going to possibly list in the future soon, you call that competition. Those folks, active folks, are competition. So what do you get next?
So and the sale, the price range is all the way from $56,500 up to $1.695 million.
No kidding.
Yep.
1.7.
Yeah, 1.7.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's a really nice one. It's a condo. I had to look at this one because it was really nice. It was the 24th floor of a building down in, I think it's right near City Hall. And
the 24th, like the
height. It was a penthouse. It was initially six units up there. They bought them all and combined the whole floor.
That's awesome.
It's beautiful. The windows, you can see windows all the way around the whole building. It's beautiful. It's really a nice.
Now, what does it overlook like? Whereabouts?
Everywhere. It's probably, I would suspect, I didn't look at the exact cross streets, but just knowing that building, I think it's off either Greenfield or it's east of Southfield, and I think around 12 Mile, if I'm not mistaken. Something like that.
Okay. So let's talk pending homes that are under contract. Okay, 73 pending homes and 14 pending condos. Now, if you notice, that means that there are more houses under contract that haven't closed yet than houses that are actively out there. So once this ban thing gets lifted, that tells you that you got less competition out there. Yeah.
That's a lot of pending properties.
Yeah, it is. It's not bad.
That's a lot. That's a good number.
That's not bad at all.
Things happening out there. And in the last 30 days, 28 homes have sold and 5 condos have closed and changed hands.
So that's your lowest number, stuff that's closed.
Yeah.
So
it hasn't just in the last 30 days.
Yeah.
Which is what we've been going through, this coronavirus, this stay at home, and still 33 properties changed hands.
Yeah,
in the last 30 days.
It makes things go a little slower, right? That's why you got more pennies, I would guess.
It does, but it's not zero.
No, things are closing. Folks, again, things are closing. People are listing houses. People are buying houses. That's happening, okay? There are more challenges, right? There are more challenges going on, but that's still happening, right? And like I said, the biggest W for us right now is the fact to let people inspect. Yeah. Go to their house with the inspector, inspect the home.
And
that's a big deal.
And the buyer can be there, yes.
That's a big deal.
Huge deal.
So that's the city spotlight of Southfield. Like you said, once the ban is lifted, Don and I will be enjoying restaurant food. We'll try to be doing some shows from restaurants because I need a little more. So what else we got?
So next up is going back to what do we do and that sort of stuff is earnest money deposits.
Okay.
So when you put an offer together on a property that you're interested in purchasing, you have to put an earnest money deposit to secure the home and hold on to it. And what do you know? What can you say about that? What else? How?
So some quick questions and things that people don't know or maybe misconstrue or are not sure of or how things work. Okay. When you put an earnest money deposit, and you give an earnest money deposit check to somebody, whether it be your agent or drop it off at the company or whatever, okay? Whoever takes that check is going to cash it and put it into an escrow account.
Non-interest bearing.
Right. So I had a client not too long ago say, "Why'd you cash my check?" And I was like, "You said you're going to hold it." I said, "No, we're going to put it into an earnest money account." So that's what's going to happen. So realize that you're not just giving somebody a check with no value to it. That check's going to get cashed. So it sits in an account. Now I see all kinds of different ways people do this. There's a typical way, right? Buyer's broker usually holds that, right? Usually. But I've seen like a lot of government owned or bank owned listing agent holds it, or title company holds it, right? Yep. Title companies don't really like doing that. I don't think.
I think it brings them in
like they don't want to get mixed up and all that because I know a couple of title companies that we deal with. They had to hold one not too long ago for me, and it was like we really don't like doing this much. We just don't like doing it. So typically, it's a buyer's broker that holds that money and holds that earnest money.
Right.
Yeah. So what else you got for that?
So it secures the property between the seller. The seller knows you're bargaining in good faith, and that's to hold on to the house. So where does that go? Where's that deposit, whatever that amount is, where does it go?
Well, so if the transaction is going to close, okay, it goes into closing. It goes right into closing, right? So it goes into, you'll see it on your closing statement. It'll say, $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 earnest money deposit, and it's a credit toward your closing amount, right? So that's that. So it's not like it doesn't just sit there. It eventually comes right at the top of your closing costs. Right. So
the next time after you get that check, the next time you see it is at closing.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it'd be less money you have to bring to the closing, whatever that amount is.
Yeah. Now, let's say one property doesn't work out, and so what do you got to do if you have a deposit? What happens?
So let's pretend that it doesn't appraise for the value, and the purchaser and the seller cannot come to an agreement on that issue. And the buyer decides, all right, I'm not going to buy it. The seller says, I'm not going to sell it for that price. You're not going to buy it for that price. You have to get a release of the contract. You have to break that contract. And the way to do that is you have to have the buyer and the seller have to agree to break the contract.
Yeah.
And
form's called a mutual release form.
Mutual release of contract, purchase agreement, of the purchase agreement. And when both parties sign, it states where that deposit's going, who's getting the deposit. Typically, it's going back to the purchaser. Both parties have to sign it, and then that deposit will be given back to the purchaser. If the seller doesn't sign it, the deposit cannot be released. It cannot be given back to you because that contract is between you and a seller, or between a purchaser and a seller. And if the seller's not willing to sign it, or the purchaser isn't willing to sign it, and the seller can't put their house back on the market, it has to go to small claims court, and it just becomes an issue that goes a little bit deeper.
Right. Those are the issues you kind of go, ooh. Those are the ones you don't want to deal with. Now,
so we try to keep that both parties out of that situation by figuring a way to get around that hurdle.
Right. So again, our job is to help work it out. Work things out is to make it so. You try to even work that out when you get to if you get to that point. Now, let's take this a little further now. Let's go. So I didn't like this property. Okay. What? Let me try it this way. What areas do you usually see people mutual release things out? Where do you usually see that?
The first spot is private inspection.
Yep.
The house needed way too much work, or it's going to fall down, or whatever the case may be. You decide to buy it. That typically when you have to get a signed mutual release. Even though it's subject to you having a private inspection, you really want to break that contract and have it fully voided. And you do that by having both parties, both buyer and seller, sign that contract, sign that release, mutual release.
So another place that we see typically where things start to head that way is if the house is real far off on appraisal or something like that. Appraisal point. Like if it's pretty close, most times somebody's going to come up with some cash or somebody's going to come down. Most times, right?
Or it's in between. You meet in between.
Right, but that's another spot.
Works out.
That's another spot where people go, "What the heck? Oh my God!" It's, you know.
Usually that's the two. Other than that,
Yeah.
The next one would be maybe the buyer not getting approved for the mortgage, and the seller's got some really hard feelings about that. They had to go that far, and the buyer didn't get purchased, didn't get approved. For example, I saw a mortgage rep talking about right now they have to verify employment virtually every day, especially absolutely. The day of the closing. And they call, and the lender called the buyer's company and personnel department, and he was laid off a couple days ago, and they could not close the loan. Yeah, so the seller, in that situation, they were going to be closing in a day or so. That seller could be a little ticked off and not be too happy about that, and may try to hold it off. But the buyer didn't get approved, so they're going to get it back.
Yeah, it typically, I mean, it's again, once you get past appraisal point, it's kind of anything goes. I mean, like as far as you better have a really good reason why you're not following through.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, you really because
really
then it can get real ugly real fast.
Yeah.
So
you're breaking the contract at that point. So
yeah. So far we've talked about, kind of gave you the update of what's going on. We talked about earnest money deposit. We talked about what agents do, and we just want to leave you with a couple of things that. This, like anything else, this stay-at-home thing will pass. We kind of circle back to what can you do to be productive during this time. Like for me, like I said, take a room and do some design work on it. I know you can't buy paint. At least in Michigan, you can't buy paint.
That's interesting you say that. I was talking to one of my cousins, and he had mentioned that Home Depot you can call them up or order something through Home Depot, and they'll deliver it to your car out in the parking lot, or you pick it up or something. So,
but I don't think they won't tint paint for you. I don't think.
Oh, well,
I don't think they'll tint paint for you.
Yeah, good point. You know what? I didn't even think about that part.
But what I did see this weekend and earlier this week before the wrath of snow started falling, the rain started falling on us. Lots of people cutting the grass.
Yeah.
Lots of people looking at curb appeal, working that stuff. They're working those things. So keep fighting through it, folks. Keep doing things that are going to improve your values. If you're waiting to list, call us. Let us know. Let us talk you through what you think you should do. And we're honest guys. We're going to kind of give you the regular skinny. If you're looking for a home, keep digging, keep looking. It's going to pop up. I mean, I think that'll give you my gist on what's going to happen. Okay, that's it. I said this for a couple weeks now, but I'll reiterate it again. Once this thing goes off, once this ban goes off, it's gonna be a zoo. It's gonna surge like nobody's business. I think it's just gonna. I mean, like people are gonna be buyers are gonna come out of the woodwork, and then people are gonna talk to each other, and listings are gonna start popping up everywhere. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think that will happen.
You think there's not a pent up demand?
Absolutely. So again, 4 walls. You're walking around those 4 walls, and you're tired of looking at them. If you're tired of looking at them enough, call us. We'll get you a different house. We'll get you a different house. If you're like, you know what, we should really get out of this damn house and go somewhere else. If it's driving you that much crazy, then that's what we do. So keep pushing through things, folks. It's gonna get better. I mean, I feel like people are settled down, like you said, used to this thing now a little bit.
Do you think so?
I do. I think people are used to it. I'll give you an example. I saw today at the grocery store. I saw that every single person except 2 people had masks on.
Hey, that's very interesting. I went grocery shopping this morning, and same thing. I had a mask on. Everybody's wearing masks, so you can see people are.
Well, and I mean, let's say that's something that we have to do for a while. Okay.
Did you wear a mask?
I did.
Okay, good.
I did. I bought a lot of bad food, but
you what?
I bought a lot of bad food. But
you got a mask on.
I got a mask. So I'm not going to get coronavirus. I might get arteriosis or a heart attack or something like that.
That's not going to hurt anybody else.
No.
It's only you.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. Folks, so like I said, we wanted to give you that high note and let you know what we think as far as it's going to get better. The market's going to open up. And you're going to see, I think, again, this is my opinion, you're going to see that springtime craziness shift to summer and into fall.
Yeah.
You're going to see that third, fourth quarter be ridiculous.
Yep.
That's what's going to happen.
Yep.
So don't fret. It's going to be all right. We're going to get through it. All right. Anything else for the order?
No, I think I'm good. I think we covered a lot of information today, and hopefully it's good information that you guys really can get some value out of.
Yeah. So folks, if ever we touch on something and you need to hear more or you didn't understand, reach out to us. Facebook Messenger. I do video message, all kinds of video message all day long. Snapchat, email, whatever, phone number, call, text, whatever. If we need to help you understand something, whether you're buying or selling or anything from at all. I mean, I have folks reach out to me all the time. My sister, I told you this story before. My sister from Texas called me. Do you think I should refinance? I hadn't talked to her in a while. You think that's the first thing she said? Do you think I should refinance? So if you got questions, anything house related, as far as buy, sell, finance stuff, call us. If we don't know the answer, we'll get it, or we'll find somebody who does. Pretty simple stuff. Now, go ahead.
Go back to some of the things that what do we do is in our besides of our experience is our connections, people that we know in the business that we trust to get the job done. Mortgage rods, title companies, surveyors if we need that, flood insurance.
Yeah, you don't need flood insurance talk. Come talk to me.
Insurance companies. So we have these connections with people that we trust and have a business relationship with. So that's another part of the thing of what we do and what hopefully we bring to the table.
Absolutely.
To make, one of the most important things in a person's life, moving.
Yeah. So, folks, the last thing I will tell you is, for some reason, my sound technician Shadow has not made a lot of noise. He is on his 21st day of being walked, so he's definitely getting there. I'll mention something too. Kevin Moore, give a big shout out to Kenny Ciantar, Janelle Lessinger in the house. I know we weren't interacting as much with the new setup here, so we're trying to work through it. So we'll try to be a little more pop crazy, interactive next time around. All right. So
we do have our 6 feet distance here.
Yeah,
too,
we made sure. We're trying to be good.
Social distancing here.
All right, Don. So what do you think?
Let's do it.
I'm Scott.
And I'm Don.
And we're talking real estate.